Hello, Owl Pals. Welcome to the Saturday Night Rewatch. Tonight, we are doing the 1979 classic sci-fi horror film Alien by Ridley Scott, which was, at the time, an absolute phenomenon for just scaring the living bejesus out of people. I was 15 when this thing came out, and I remember that. I mean, like, all the newspaper articles and things like that were all doom, gloom. You better not have a heart condition or anything like that for this film. But we'll go into that a little bit more in a few minutes here. I want to say hi to everybody that's on the stream here. First of all, we have the Klingon cleric, Troy Pacelli. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going?
And we have, of course, his much better half by 1,000,000%, the lovely Nanette. And there's no really iconic score for Alien, so let's just go Nanette, because I was in a little Star Wars mood today earlier, so we'll do that.
Hi, everybody. How you guys doing today?
So on the chat, we got Dark Stranger, who had two questions straight off the bat, I see. Would Klingons and Predators get along, and would 60s Kirk do a she-Predator? First of all, no. I don't think Kirk would do that. And I don't know if the Klingons and Predators would get along, or if the Predators would find them to be the ultimate game. So there's, that's my thing. There's always a chance there, but I did like how they set up in Predator 2 that they're a little more about their society as far as being the honorable hunters. I kind of like that. I thought that was kind of neat. Okay, you and Dark Stranger were going at it there. Mohammed in the house. Am I early or am I early? Yes, Mohammed, you are early. And this was, a long time ago. Makes me wonder if you're still there. We got Chris P in the house. Asking Troy, have you ever watched an episode, or have you ever seen Night Gallery? There was an episode of William Shatner. Black hair looked like Elvis. I might have seen one or two eps. I don't know about you, but Chris B loves the screaming thumbnail. Thank you. Just had an idea. I hope you like my little avatar too. If you can't read it, it basically says, "Hey, want a hug?" We'll play on the face hugger thing. Just had a little inspiration this afternoon and decided to do that. Melissa Harris, Casey Scott. Nanette was 6th. I guess she had to count to figure that one out. Okay, so I got Crispy. I'm going down. Sound Age of Boomer, Sound Engraver. Sound Engraver, if you are still here, if you had mentioned if we did Forbidden Planet, you'll be there. First of all, we're going to do Forbidden Planet, and I think I mentioned, if you didn't hear earlier, on the poll, that was the option that we were going to do if 50s sci-fi had won. Starship Troopers was the 90s one, and we'll get around to all of them, or I will. I don't know if those will be on Troy's list or I'll keep them on mine. We'll see. Crispy Sound Engraver. So, Evelyn Hampton, how you doing? Going down, and I think I'm at the end. Yay! Stephen Cruz. Didn't see Stephen Cruz. How's it going, sir? How's it going? But yes, you have seen Alien, correct?
You're asking me, yeah.
Yes, asking you. Has Nanette? Because I'm finding out Nanette's seen a few things she hasn't seen. That
I actually have seen this one, and we also have Keely Chow in the chat. Hi, Keely.
Oh, I missed Keely. I'm sorry.
Hi, Keely.
Oh, there's Keely. Sorry. Went right past. StreamYard's a bit goofier to stream down. Yeah, there's Keely Chow. Hi, hey everybody. And sometimes you can. Oh, Daniel Herron. Yeah, I think I missed Daniel.
What's annoying about StreamYard is you don't see the highlighting. So that's why I actually just for those of you that haven't used StreamYard, you have two choices. You can watch the chat on StreamYard in real time, except you don't get the highlighting. Like when you highlight me and my name comes up in orange. If I watch it on YouTube, however, it's like a 30-second delay. So your comment may take a while, and I'm seeing what I did 30 seconds ago.
And on my end, I was of course bringing this up with Troy again before we went on. I take YouTube down because my computer just kind of has a hissy fit. And ever since I've stopped doing that, I haven't crashed out, knock wood. That won't happen. But that's why I don't go. I go strictly on the StreamYard. I don't see the chat as it shows up on YouTube. So, but it's still there. I just got to, like I said, you just don't see the name. I just assume everything's for me, and I just kind of look around to see. So Dark Trigger, so out of the strictly alien films, no Alien versus Predator, which was my favorite? He said his was strangely the third one.
For 3 was kind of creepy to me.
Yeah, 3.
All that cloning and stuff just bothered the hell out of me.
Yeah, 3 was okay. It definitely wasn't as good as the first two. 1 and 2 definitely two different types of films. Yeah. Alien is as someone once described. I love this when I read it. It was Jaws in space. It's
interesting you say it that way, because I've heard it, and that's true. I mean, now that you say it that way, I've heard it put as a haunted house in space.
Yeah, haunted house in space as well. And like I said, it really depends on the mood. If you're in that darker, you've got all the lights out and you want to be scared, the first one is definitely the one. But the adrenaline action of the second one is excellent too. But I think overall, though, I think the second one has got a better rewatchability when you really think about it. Plus, it's got some great characters, some twists and turns. Not that this one doesn't have twists and turns, but there's more aliens. There's more machismo in the second one, if I'm using that correctly, like with the Marines and even Ripley herself at the end.
But we even get more, so-called strong women too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely.
I mean, I have to agree with you on that about the Aliens 2, except there's like there is with this. There's multiple cuts of Alien 2, and there are some deleted scenes from Aliens 2 that I think elevate it. The whole thing about her having had a daughter, and that echoes relationship with Newt. I think that. And I think that kind of hurts Alien 3 in my mind a little bit, because all of that is lost and never picked up again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm giving any spoilers away. It's been, I'm sorry. I think after a couple years, the spoiler warnings could
I agree,
really go out the window. But you lose I can't remember the character's name. Michael Bihn's character.
Yeah.
You lose him, and you lose Newt, and you're left with Ripley, which is fine. But there was a heart with her and Newt. There was a great dynamic that Newt added that you just don't get in number 3, and it becomes basically a prison film. And which is number 3 is actually much more reminiscent of the first one.
In some ways, you're right.
Yeah, but
Evelyn Hampton saw the Alien Queen at the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum. Says she's enormous. I can imagine just knowing the scale. I used to be into and I collected all of the. If you know of HeroClix, the game, there used to be a HorrorClix, and they put out an Alien versus Predator set, and you could buy a separate Alien Queen play set, and her dial was this big around.
Nice.
and she sat about this tall, and she literally could detach from the big egg sac. It was
Oh, nice.
enormous. So you could see the size difference between the alien queen, a regular size alien, a predator, and a human. Pretty cool.
That is pretty cool. Yeah, the Alien Queen, that was a vicious looking thing in that movie. Very dynamic.
Another reason I like aliens, not Alien
Yeah.
2, aliens, because it gives you some of the lore about the alien and so forth.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the designs of H.R. Geiger have always been, is it Giger? I can never remember.
H.R.
Giger. Yeah, his designs are just creepy as hell. Just his color palette, his
I'm glad you mentioned it, because
and everything.
We've been talking about doing a rewatch of, not a rewatch. Well, probably that too. We've talked about doing a reread of Dune on the Professor's channel.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure we will end up rewatching David Lynch's Dune at right around that time on our channels, one of our channels too. But so many people are talking about the new upcoming Dune and saying how so much of the visuals are being drawn from David Lynch's production. But I think if we're really honest, they're really just going back to the original H.R. Giger concept drawings that David Lynch used.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess you could say 6 of one, half dozen of the other. But
yeah, it definitely. I mean, the man has an aesthetic, and it's. I mean, his work, it speaks for itself. It's just really.
Yeah. You see a lot of it in Hellraiser too. Just
it's a very dark, very very foreboding kind of imagery that really does touch you on a deep visceral level. Can be very frightful. I will say, I do want to share before. Okay, a couple things. One, there some people had asked, and for those who still don't know, we are doing the theatrical version. We're not doing the one where we see Dallas going "kill me," which is creepy, but quite frankly, a little harder to. I think I always theatrical version is the first one I saw, and it scared the hell out of me. And I did not see this in the movie theaters. The first time I saw it was, and I remember very well, it was a Friday night about midnight, and I started watching this by myself in the dark. And within 3 minutes, I was terrified. The music, the eeriness, and just knowing what the film, all the stuff I had heard about the film, just how terrifying it was. I was scared to death. Little about 15-year-old Al, still wasn't a horror fan at the time, and I saw it in a great setting where it really sticks with you, and I kind of glad I saw it instead of at 5 in the afternoon and the sun's out. It's a whole different experience.
Now, Chris P says Alien 3 stands out. It's because Paul McGann is in it, who played the 8th Doctor. So that makes sense. It's just a long episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, there you go. If he had whipped out a sonic screwdriver, that would have been a whole different concept.
You ever seen Paul McGann's sonic screwdriver? Not the one that was used in the film, but the one that they made for publicity shots for the Big Finish audios.
The one that had like the blue crystal kind of steampunky look.
Yes. Yeah. You have seen it. Honestly, my favorite, but it's never been marketed to my knowledge. So I'm going to have to make a custom.
Well, he had, I believe one of the stories behind that, he had one and it got lost or got stolen. And that one was one that a fan made for him. It was at least that's the story I heard. I might have heard it wrong.
It's entirely possible.
But it's kind of cool. But yeah, it's a great sonic screwdriver. I still like. I'm still a fan of the old ones. The like the fourth Doctors was always going to be my favorite. I kind of have a little little love. I kind of have some love for the third Doctor's one too, because it's a little more colorful. It's got the yellow and the swirly stuff, and
What's interesting is trying to get the second Doctors. It's really hard to find that exact pen light, so you got to kind of fudge it a little bit.
Yeah, I only own two. I have the fourth Doctor's, and I have well, technically it's the 12th Doctor's, but it's still the same style as the Matt Smith.
Right.
But it's just the better design. You don't have to pop open the bottom and push the button to get it to operate. Right. It's got the touch thing on the little leather looking handle thing. So it's a better version. But I still would like to get Capaldi's newer version. I think that would be kind of
a pretty wild looking one. But
yeah, it's pretty out there. I think it's a little bit. I mean, he was always talking about messing up the lining of his jacket. That sucker will mess up the lining of his jacket.
We have a lot of them, and we also have Sarah Jane's scanner, wristwatch that finds alien life forms and the sonic lipstick.
Real quick here, I'm going to start here in about a minute. Did you watch the Farewell Sarah Jane?
I did. That was rough.
You weeped hard time, didn't you? That was a beautiful.
I'm going to have to put that on DVD and put that as the last disc in my Sarah Jane adventures.
It was a very, very, very beautiful tribute. Okay, guys, on to the movie. I've got it just as the 20th Century logo is starting. So it's dark and the logo is about to start. That's where I'm at. I have an MP4. It's at about the 3-second mark. You could probably start it at 0 and it'll be fine. You'll be close enough. So if you guys want to line up and get to there, but yeah, just anytime there's a 20th Century Fox logo, I love to watch that because it just to me that's a cinematic pleasure. Although they use the short version. I like the long version like they do for Star Wars.
Right. It seems like it's missing when you don't have it there. That's what I really don't like about the first of the prequel trilogy.
Okay, Professor Geek, why are you yelling wait?
he's playing around because Muhammad.
Oh, he's doing the Muhammad thing with the wait.
Muhammad, who was an hour early, I will point out. Yeah, then I played around with him. I'm like, wait for 1 hour. Wait.
No, he just needs to get his Diet Dr. Pepper.
Oh yeah, actually, I'm going to need another one too shortly.
Yeah, he was filling in.
I'll get you one.
He was just filling in for Muhammad. Everybody, please go to Professor Geek's Twitter and vote on the next book that we'll do after we finish the Thrawn trilogy. He has a poll up. Yeah, if you got the link, I put it up earlier.
You did.
I don't have it here anymore because I almost posted the StreamYard thing, which would have really gotten weird in here.
Can you get me another little splash of Kraken? Just a splash.
Uh-oh, the Kraken's being released.
I've already released the Kraken. It's been going for a little while now.
Okay, guys. So
it actually goes really well with Diet Dr. Pepper. Just in case you're interested, Professor.
If everybody's ready, getting ready to watch, like I said, from 1979, director Ridley Scott's Alien, a classic, terrifying movie at the time. Still very terrifying. I was kind of going through it. It was terrifying me even yesterday as I was kind of going through it because I had to find another version because the one I had was corrupted. It stopped 30 minutes in.
Imagine that. A pirated version of a movie was corrupted.
Yeah. Well, but I mean, it's a good thing I checked it or I would have been screwed. Yeah, okay, guys, like I said, I'm starting at around anywhere between 0 and 3 is good, just before 20th Century Fox. So at the countdown, 3, 2, 1. Still always funny to see the 20th Century Fox logo at after the 20th century. Didn't think that far ahead when they initially did it.
Now, when you did your poll,
Yeah.
the first thing I started thinking was the different decades have very different feel to
Right.
their special effects, the ambiance of the films. And I really feel like that lends something to it. I feel that way about, like, when I see Krull, and I see the 80s style,
Yeah.
and this is similar. It's that late 70s, early 80s kind of.
Mm-hmm. And it's that dark. It's that dark film. It's that there's no real comedy in it. It's serious. They are in a serious situation even before they get in trouble. Everything they're in space. They're doing a job. I love how the title sequence just kind of develop. The letters kind of come in.
Exactly.
If anybody doesn't know, the original title for the film at one point was Star Beast.
Yeah.
How different I mean, now that is like late 70s, early 80s. Call something Star Beast. And of course, I don't think the film would have been nearly as successful if it hadn't been called something as simple as Alien.
The Nostromo.
Crew of 7, refining, processing.
One of the things I really like about this is it's focused on a mining ship.
Yeah.
And nowadays, more and more, we're talking about, if there's going to be a space program, it's going to be about mining minerals, out the Kuiper Belt or whatever.
And it's towing another ship, I think, isn't it?
You may be right.
Because I read something that says, well, it's towing another ship, and I was like,
right, isn't that the ship that they used to escape? Hey, that probably looks familiar.
Yeah. And actually, somewhere, if you look on a wall somewhere, you'll see a Mr. Fusion.
Yes, you're right. I think it's when they're in the before the chest bursting scene.
Yeah.
Spoilers, everyone.
There, I think that's it right there.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
it's upside down.
The coffee grinder.
There's the coffee machine, and then there's the Mr. Coffee above it.
Uh-huh.
So apparently, that '70s technology, into the future.
Now, of course, this film was really, of course, inspired by Star Wars, and a lot of its success due to Star Wars, because everybody was in the mood for sci-fi at the time. But I remember seeing this, and like, beyond being kind of scared by it because of just what it was about, I was like, what the hell? The aesthetic was so different in the design of the ship.
It was a little bit, I think that it was a little bit inspired by 2001.
Yeah.
Because they were going for that whole idea of what could a real spaceship be like in the future.
Yeah. And plus, and also with the, I'm sorry, Nanette, go ahead.
I say, for me, what makes it scary is not seeing what's chasing you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, there's something there, there's something lurking. It's taking people from the ship later on, like every once in a while someone will disappear, you hear screams, but you don't know what it is yet.
Okay, the film's almost 2 hours. The alien and the face hugger take up barely 4 minutes of screen time.
Yep. And I think that's why your comparison to Jaws is so apt. Mm-hmm. That's what makes it. And I see some Millennium Falcon there too. In the
definitely. Yeah.
Stuff, Professor Geek made a joke when he first came on about my background, saying, "Don't look behind you." But what Nanette said made an excellent point. No, you better believe I'm going to look behind me. I'm going to look in front of me. I'm going to know what's around me. Yeah. I don't care how scary the monster is. I want to see where it is and how far it is from me.
Mm-hmm. But but like I said, 15, 16-year-old Al, the aesthetic was a lot different because you're used to the sleeker, like the Star Trek ships,
Yeah.
or the Star Wars ships. Got a little more rooms, not as the everything's smoother. It's not as industrial.
Yeah.
The corners aren't as crooked, but it does looks like something that would actually truly exist. When you really think about it,
Right on. Yeah.
it's more purpose built than it is to appease a to look pretty. It doesn't need to look pretty. It just needs to look like it does a job.
Yeah.
Big Al, Stephen Cruz going, she's about to come out.
Yeah. There's also a visual cue here. You notice all the white. It's kind of a way of conveying in space. One of the things you need is zero dust. You don't want things, getting into the machinery and stuff. So there's a cleanliness that has to happen, and you can't, show that any other way except, a lot of white. It's kind of symbolic of the environment they're in, that sterility.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen this guy just waking up, just stumbling out of bed. My first thought is, I really gotta pee.
That's why they got Mr. Coffee.
And of course, another Doctor Who
alum
comparison there, with the War Doctor.
Yep. You're absolutely right. I still am not used to thinking of him as one of the Doctors, but you're right. He technically.
And there's the Doctor and Bilbo.
Oh, right.
Ian Holm.
I'll tell you what, though, that really, those of you that caught that little debate yesterday, I was really struggling when someone said something about the War Doctor breaking continuity. I'm like, no, you don't understand the concept of what breaks continuity and what's, weaving something into continuity.
Of course, Tom Skerritt there, the first person they wanted to play his role, Harrison Ford.
Right, I can see that.
Yeah, they were hoping to get Harrison Ford for it, but Tom Skerritt got it. And who was the of course I got all this from going through IMDb. The actress who was almost Ripley?
No.
Meryl Streep.
I can see that, sure.
Yeah. But she had a personal loss and was in mourning at the time. So
and one person we forgot to mention I didn't get a chance to mention when he was on screen, the late Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah. Well, of course, John Hurt, which I don't know if we want to give anything away, but John Hurt was the first to pass, and then Harry Dean Stanton passed the same year, and the order in which they pass in the film is the same, first and second.
Basically, is that Sigourney Weaver is going to outlive them all.
Yeah, well, I guess so. Yeah, if that starts to happen, that would be really freaky.
Right?
The alien curse. It's not a curse. They've all had.
It's not really a curse. It's not like they died the year after or something.
Yeah.
What's like I was an extra in Poltergeist 3, and they said that movie was cursed because so many things would go wrong. Like film canisters would pop out of the cameras. People were getting sick. They trip over, seemingly nothing. Then they look behind them and suddenly there's a cord across the floor that wasn't there earlier. And the little girl got severely sick and ended up dying.
Yeah.
I do want to, I love Dark Stranger's comment here. Can we take a moment to reflect that Weaver and her female co-star here are attractive despite not being oversexed in any way, as feminists argue men only care for? It's absolutely true. In fact,
they're beautiful.
A lot of true second wave feminists look at this film and say this is a great depiction of the female hero.
Yeah.
Because the fact that she's a female is irrelevant to the story. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, it was originally written to be a male character, and they just chose Sigourney Weaver because she read well and she made an impression on
Actually, funny you say that. When I was reading up on the film, all the parts, no one's ever really they only use the last names. Any part could have been any gender, they said when they wrote it. It wasn't written with a gender or in mind at all. Everybody was just, there was Dallas, Ripley,
I love that.
any other names.
I never caught that before, but
Yeah.
that's exactly the point. You don't even
Yeah.
think about it.
Yeah,
And
you
going
don't,
back
you
on
don't
the-
really need it.
And going back on the women being, not sexualized or whatever on her. If you notice, neither of the women are wearing makeup, and they still are gorgeous.
Well,
Mhm.
let's face it, everybody in the cast is wearing makeup. They're wearing stage makeup, but I get what you're
I
saying.
know what I mean, dear.
Look like they're not wearing makeup, absolutely. But yeah, let's give it up for Veronica Cartwright, though. She is beautiful.
Yeah, I've always thought she was a very beautiful woman. She's still with us, I believe. Yeah, I think
Actually, I better double check that, but I think I would remember if anything had happened to her. Yeah, she's still alive.
yeah, I was thinking of, there's another actress I was thinking of, the one who played in Dick Tracy. That one, she passed.
In fact, she's got a movie that came out this year called Breaking Fast, which I haven't seen. See, and I love this conversation here. He makes reference to it being a commercial ship.
Uh-huh.
We're so used to our science fiction being about military ships, you know, or even sometimes private ships.
Or science,
Or science, true. This one is a commercial ship.
Yeah.
It's owned by a company. They work for a company, So you could paint that company as the bad guys because they have some sort of agenda or whatever. But just remember, it's a company ship. The company is doing what the company wants, and you work for the company, and your job is to do what the company tells you to do.
Mm-hmm. I just like how colorful the Nostromo patch was. It's like a rainbow kind of thing.
Yeah. I love those late 70s, early 80s type.
I do too.
It makes me think of the Star Wars arcade game.
Mm-hmm. And just like when they were going, right before the the Battle of the Death Star and all the scanners and stuff. That was the tech at the time. That's what we had. I like that shot there where you see just how the little Nostromo, which actually is a huge ship. And
Mohammed brings up a great point. I didn't know this, but it kind of plays into what we were talking about gender roles before. He said that apparently Lambert was retconned by Ridley Scott to possibly have been transgendered. It doesn't change the story or the character that much. But then again, I would also argue, Mohammed, that Ridley Scott retconning it doesn't mean anything. I'm very much death of the author. It wasn't in the story, so it ain't. If you what's that internet thing? No pics. It didn't happen. If it didn't happen in the film, it didn't happen.
Yeah. Now I believe isn't that the actual Nostromo?
I'm sorry.
Isn't that ship right there? That's the Nostromo, I believe.
I believe so. Yeah, that's the mining ship. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas the big thing they're hauling is like an equipment. It's like a processing plant or something, or processor or something like that.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't dug into the technical aspects of this like I have on like Star Trek ships and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean to. I just never get around to it.
A lot of people have. There's like whole Facebook pages dedicated to the technology from this show.
Oh yeah, I am sure.
Not to mention how it interweaves with other, things like Predator and Terminator and other Ridley Scott films.
Everything being interconnected and
right. Chris P is is reinforcing what I said about them working for a company, and there's a sequence talking about their contract and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, Casey Scott was saying John Hurt wasn't originally going to be in the film. He's a last minute replacement for someone who got very sick.
Yeah, he was. There was another film he was supposed to do, and then I think I read something about there was he keeps getting mistaken for the actor John Hurd, who was at the time banned from going into South Africa because of the apartheid. Because he had been very vocal about apartheid, and John Hurt, who's not been vocal about it, he says, "I didn't like it. I just didn't, spout out about it." But he got confused for it, and he couldn't get into the country to do a film or something. Yeah, there's lots of little nuggets about this film I was reading. I couldn't process them all. I was like, there's just so many. Yeah, John Finch was supposed to play Kane, but became ill.
Now, I have to assume this was done with miniatures. And if it was, what incredible work.
Oh, yeah.
Although one of the things Nanette and I have been watching on YouTube has been a series of gamers, crafters doing D&D miniatures and literally crafting like terrain and stuff. For whatever reason, we're just really enjoying it. And some of the detail is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
What people that do miniatures can do.
Oh, there's this one guy, he does like the quick and dirty miniature kind of thing, like little ships and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like just using everyday stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Head and Shoulders dandruff shampoo bottle, which I've always thought had a really cool curvy look to it.
Yeah.
And he built a ship with it, and he does like the quick and dirty green screen kind of thing.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
One of the guys that we saw did an HO scale, and he lives in Australia, so he's doing Australian buildings and whatnot, mm-hmm. and skyscrapers. And when he's done with it, he puts it outside and takes a camera angle looking up, and I swear it looks like it's a real building. I could not tell it wasn't real.
And I mean, I wish I was that talented.
Yeah.
Or I had decided to be into that kind of thing. It's amazing how many people smoke in a spaceship.
Well, it's kind of funny, right? Because it is a product of its time. Back then, mm-hmm. everyone smoked, so they assumed everyone would always smoke, and in the future, there'd be accommodations for that in spaceships, right?
Mm-hmm.
So few people smoke now. It would kind of be expected that if you're going on a spaceship, you're not going to be smoking.
I mean, first of all, you've landed and you've already had things like exploding and everything like that. This is a bad idea, boys. I would have a really bad feeling about everything that's going on.
That's part of the drinking game. I got a bad feeling about this. Every time someone says it, yeah. Take a drink.
Thank you, Wolf 10 Media. I started growing it years ago because I realized it was just necessary for the whole Klingon persona. And it kind of works with the steampunk persona too. So I just kept it.
It's just weird seeing Bilbo.
And spoiler, knowing he's a robot.
Yeah.
Or what are we calling them now? Synths?
Since Android.
I don't know. I guess they'd need us. We would need them to tell us what their preferred reference is, right? If we're going to be politically correct. I don't want to be accused of using a derogatory term.
I heard it was not very pleasant to be inside those spacesuits because they did not breathe at all, and it was hot on set.
I would imagine.
They said that there were several times people passed out.
Which is ironic because a real space suit, one of the whole points is temperature control.
Yeah.
A couple people are bowing out. Casey, I'm sorry, Daniel Heron said he had to go, and I saw another one. Dark Stranger said he's got some work he's got to do right now.
Oh, okay. Well, take it easy, guys. Hopefully you can come back and say hi.
Yeah, pop back in before it's over if you can.
But it was great seeing you tonight. Good hanging out as long as we could.
But it is funny. You see everybody talking about what they're doing during the quarantine. You know, all these getting together by Zoom and all this other stuff. But people ask us like, "So what are you doing?" I was like, "My favorite thing is what I've been doing all along is getting on StreamYard and watching films." And
Aged Boomer says they prefer synthetic person, but doesn't that sound like it would be derogatory?
Because it seems to lessen the fact that they're a person.
Yeah, you are still well, and wasn't that the whole point of Measure of a Man? He's still a sentient being.
Or should we call ourselves are we a biological person?
Right.
Or an organic, or we could be an organic. They're synthetic. They're synthetic. We are organics. Yeah, pigskins.
Pigskins, right. And see, I thought that was brilliant because it's intended as derogatory to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And as time went by, it became a term of endearment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm wondering if we really have the ability to look past terms that we consider to be derogatory and allow them to lose that power and allow them to just be what they are. Just words, you know.
And so when they were casting Sigourney Weaver, someone really liked her because that she reminded them of Jane Fonda.
Ugh.
But at the time, it wasn't as, you know.
Hopefully, they just meant her look, because I'll admit that Jane Fonda was attractive back then.
Like the Clute time.
But talk about an example of someone who is far less attractive when you know anything about them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hey, Wolfden Media, I really do not begrudge you that, but do me a favor and say hi to Ishi and Kat, would you? Aged Boomer said that Bishop preferred artificial person. See, that again, that just seems derogatory.
Yeah.
Although one could even say, does that mean that he was programmed to prefer that?
There's the ship fondly called the Big Croissant.
Wolf10 Media said, I hate the term POC or person of color because it sounds like categorized brown person.
Yeah, right?
Can't we all just be people?
And there's the other person with person of color. If you really want to get into it, everybody's a person of some color.
Uh-huh.
Well,
You know,
I
what we
think
can call white is not exactly white. It's kind of off white, peachish, reddish.
I think person of color, and I'm thinking lots and lots of colors all over them. You know, like a patchwork quilt or something. You know, you got a little bit of red here, a little bit of yellow, a little bit of green, a little purple. You know,
That's someone who fell down a hill very, very hard. Colors all over the place.
Mohammed, I'm not sure exactly what you're asking, but you immediately made me think of passing gas inside of a spacesuit.
Mm.
I always thought that was a pretty cool looking ship.
Yeah, I was just wondering what the whole thing kind of looked like. You know, like didn't this ship come back in Prometheus or something? I've never seen Prometheus.
In fact, I think they even showed it taking off.
I think I heard some of these shots were done by kids to make it look bigger.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't that make it like 50% larger?
Yeah, yeah.
Now here you get some of that H.R. Giger, stylization, right? I mean, that is very alien. It looks less like technology and more biological.
Biological, skeletal.
Yeah.
Insectoid.
Well, and that's one of the cool sci-fi tropes. This whole idea that technology is actually created by manipulating genetics, and growing something rather than building something.
Mm-hmm. I do like those helmets. It does allow them a very wide view. It gives them a good peripheral and a good view up.
Muhammad said that yes, they did use kids, and in fact, they were the kids of the crew.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, those helmets are good because I mean, every time I go, I can't see like on my side. I want to know what's there, and I'd be constantly trying to turn my head to see what's around me.
Yeah, and that does kind of lend itself to the creepy factor, what is it, the claustrophobia, right? Being inside a suit like that. And there's a certain vulnerability too, because boy, you even get a little puncture, you could die in theory. I mean, this is just
that always creeped me out, that image.
This whole idea of not only are they encountering an alien, but it's an alien corpse.
Yeah.
That adds a creep factor to it.
With a hole in its chest.
Right. They just said fossilized, but technically it's not fossilized. Technically, it's freeze dried.
Mm-hmm. I forgot what they called it. Has a name. I forgot what they called it.
Like desiccated?
No, the whole image, the persona of the alien. There's a funny name that they gave it. Just like the ship was called the Big Croissant. I forgot what they called him. I'd have to look it up.
Yes, basically it's a mummified alien. You're right. Although I did see Prometheus and I did see Alien, whatever the prequel was. I honestly don't remember the whole story that leads up to this.
Is that Covenant? Is that
Covenant? Yeah, Alien Covenant, right? Yes, Space Jockey. Thank you, Wolf 10.
Space Jockey? Thank you. That was it. Space Jockey. Thanks. I can get off of looking for it. Back to the movie. She is a nice looking woman.
Still is.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Hey, Sir Torin Clegane. Glad you could make it. It's always good to see you.
One of these days, I'll get around to watching Game of Thrones.
Dude, do yourself a favor. Just read the books. Because it gets depressing as you get into the later seasons. And incredibly depressing when you get to the last season.
I know. Well, I actually know basically what happens. So
very disappointing.
Yeah.
Not worth it, to be honest with you. In fact, we stopped collecting the seasons because it got so bad.
I do agree. I think that they had a big buildup and then just dropped the ball.
Yeah.
You were expecting this like monstrous continental sized battle, and it just basically there was a skirmish, and then
yeah.
Well, there goes the Winter King. There goes the Winter King. He's dead.
Yeah. And it really just smacked of we want to be done with it. Just tie it all up, be done with it. Throw it in a blender and hit what the crap.
But I will sit and look at Emilia Clarke all day long.
I'm with you on that.
And Maisie Williams, once she hits it right.
That one still bothers me. That's ew. No.
See, she's older now, so she's of age.
Not in my head though. Ew. It's ew.
Okay, so what about Drew Barrymore?
Yeah, I have problems with that one too.
Really?
Yeah.
She's about your age.
I know she is, but in my head, she didn't grow up with me. She's always going to be that little girl in ET, and I don't want to see parts of her. Just no. Now, that being said, Lena Headey.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I can't judge. I can't judge the Lannisters. I mean, if I had a sister that looked like that, let me tell you,
it would still be creepy as shit.
It would be creepy, but I can't judge it. I understand.
Okay, is it like a raining where they're at? Because it's like every once in a while it looks like I could see drizzle coming down past their helmets.
It absolutely is.
Yeah,
it's
like a humidity. I think it's like.
Unless I'm mistaken, wasn't the dripping going up from the egg?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they actually had them hanging upside down originally when they were shooting.
Right.
Whoop. Want a hug?
Kiss me, Seymour.
And they were talking about the stuff that was in there when they were filming this, like disgusting. I mean, it's literally guts.
So, Sir Torin Clegane, I'm glad you brought that up. He said that he enjoys listening to the commentary, even though he doesn't have the movie and can't watch along with us. One of the cool things about these rewatches, though, is you can enjoy that and you can chit chat with us in the live stream, and there's that aspect of it. The other thing too is it's still out there. So if you do get a copy of it, and you want to use us as a listen along track, you can do that.
And just kind of like see what might have made us speak certain things.
Right, exactly. Evelyn just made me think of that line from Frankenstein. Now blow a kiss and say bye-bye. And speaking of Game of Thrones, I'm assuming that Sir Torrent Clegane, you're taking your name from the characters in.
That's what made me think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, Wolf 10 Media. I feel like the whole Dorne story was just a board in the TV show, which fans really think was such a waste.
And here, Sigourney Weaver's the only one being logical. We shouldn't let you in because something attached to this other guy. We could all get sick. We could all die. And they're like, open the hatch, let us in. Yeah, it's their fault that everyone.
We have to social distance.
Social distance, right? And that was, there was a YouTuber who was talking about exactly this trope in movies like this. It's like, look, there's always one person in these movies that if you just listen to them, you know, the whole movie would have gone completely different, but they don't, and that's when all the problems start.
Yep.
See, my thing would have been an organism attached itself to his face. I'm considering him dead. Bye, let's go.
Well, that might be too much to that extreme. I think you do isolate the person and do what you can for them. They needed more isolation for this character. They should not have had this direct exposure to the alien.
Oh, but they're wearing masks.
I'd be wearing armor, and then over top of that, some kind of like sheeting.
No. You really do need the person in a separate room that you're completely isolated from them, and you're doing stuff using robotic limbs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I would not have allowed that back onto the ship. Nope.
And can I just say, having a full beard and wearing a face mask like that doesn't work really well.
Yeah, I know.
You don't get a good seal. Now, one thing I want to bring up here as we talk about continuity, the different instances of the face hugger on different characters throughout the series, it doesn't make a lot of sense. What is the life cycle of the face hugger? How long does it take to, in quotes, impregnate you? Is it instantaneous? Does it take hours? You know, it's not consistent.
And you talk about impregnation. I read that they made a conscious decision to have one of the male members have this happen to, as to not get the whole rape outcry.
And yet they were specifically going for that inference.
Yeah.
But I mean, it would be kind of an unfair thing because in the real world, there are parasites that, you know, put eggs into you and, you know, kill you by using you as a host for its eggs. I mean, this is a natural process in the real world.
Botfly
and certain kinds of wasps and whatnot, which is very interesting because this creature is some sort of an insectoid.
Yeah. They were originally going to paint it green, but Ridley Scott, I think it was Ridley Scott, saw it, or one of the producers, somebody saw it, and really liked the color it was. And so they left it. That's as it appeared, as it was originally made.
Acetone on styrofoam. Yeah. That's how that effect was done. And this is also a great, I mean, narratively speaking, this is a logical thing for them to be doing, investigating this thing, but it also establishes the whole acid blood thing, right?
And the fact that this thing could eat its way through the hull.
And now their immediate thought is if it's strong enough, it's literally going to eat through to outside.
Yeah, it's spacist.
Although it does kind of make you wonder how gravity works on that ship,
Mhm.
you know, because is the source of gravity, pulling to outside of the hull of the ship? That doesn't make a lot of sense, but let's not read too much into it.
Mhm.
But there's the commentary. Looks like it's stopping, telling us what's happening, but it's entirely logical within the narrative of the story that someone would say that. It's not, weird in any way.
Yeah. And it was just a little bit. This was not a lot of acid.
Right.
So imagine if you like really did damage. And what they did it for is they wanted to give the creature a reason why just shooting it was a bad idea. They couldn't just shoot this thing because it would be spraying acid all over the place.
Aged Boomer said that in Aliens, they found notes on the colony from a doctor who removed the facehugger from a patient's head. The patient died during the attempt, as, one would expect.
Probably release a venom or something.
No, just the acid itself.
Oh, if it was the acid, because I'm thinking. Remember, not only does it do that, but it's anesthetized him. So it's you think that if you pull it off, it could like release some kind of venom or some kind of.
Plus, you also saw as they tried to remove it, it started to put that stranglehold on him.
Yeah.
It's very clear that it's adapted to prevent you from removing somebody, removing it from somebody.
No kidding. And somewhere in the audience during this film, a guy was thinking, you know what? I could make a CPAP face mask like that. I think you can. I think that you can get them. You get a CPAP mask that looks like a face hugger.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, I just got a new CPAP myself. It's brand new and very, very comfortable. Little tiny little nose cover. I love it. Muhammad's, because Al had mentioned the bot fly. Exactly. Impregnate the head of a wasp. Exactly.
And on a large organism, bot fly is not going to be too bad unless you get like a severe amount of them. I saw this YouTube video. This poor little monkey had like dozens of them.
Oh god!
Oh, and it was suffering. I felt bad for it. And I think it ended up dying because of it. They were trying to take out the little larvae and leaving those big holes. All the old style screens.
Yeah.
No flat screens for them.
And from our perspective, it seems kind of antiquated, but I still like that even if they made a movie today, I could see them using that retro futuristic style.
Right. Yeah.
There's not anything implicitly wrong with it.
No. Well, I love because everybody talks about, you have like on Star Trek, you have why does Discovery look so advanced and yet the Enterprise isn't? I love the explanation that they've come up with for it, which is that the Constitution class was meant to go a long time and a long distance, and you needed to have very easily replaceable, easily fixable systems. And if you had these super advanced systems, you could not just go, like they say, you just can't pull into a starbase.
Yeah.
You're out there. You've got to have something that's easily fixable.
Well, and here's the other thing too. It's just a style.
Yeah.
It doesn't really truly say anything about the technology. I mean, that's why we have, Bluetooth devices that look like steampunk items, because it's a style that someone wanted to go with.
Ash was a bastard. I've always loved that classical piece. Yeah, see, that's the shuttle. That's what she uses to escape. Spoilers.
Well, now I can't watch it because now I know the ending.
Oh,
Muhammad said, "I like to think the Nostromo is just a budget cut. Wayland probably gave them the Toyota Corolla of ships to get the job done."
yeah.
If you think about it, you're probably right. I mean, they probably could have made a much more expensive luxury ship, but that's not what they would use for a mining ship.
No. Because I think mining ship, I think a Red Dwarf.
Right? Did you hear they're doing another one?
Yeah, another season.
Yeah.
They are getting a bit long in the tooth.
Right? Yeah.
But they would be if you're out there in space. God knows how many billions of years away from home. You're going to age. Such a brilliant concept. Too bad they tried.
Mr. being his own father.
Yeah. All kinds of stuff on that show. It's weird.
I'm my own grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, Fry was the same way on Futurama. They did the same thing.
Was his own grandfather. That's right.
Yeah.
And all of that is a direct reference to Back to the Future, right?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, his mom was hot.
I like Dallas's flashlight that long on the long.
Yeah, pen light basically.
Yeah. But it's like really long,
Oh yeah.
Reminds me of a Harry Potter wand.
Yeah.
I should imagine it's the kind of thing that an eye doctor would use. Follow the light. Hey, are you dead yet? Pokey pokey.
Look how protective he is of her. There was supposed to write a possible romance for those two, but not a romance, but just a sexual.
And yet you don't even have to read it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the same time, it's just, what? Instinct
to protect someone who makes you in trouble.
Do the same thing for a man as a woman.
I love what I read was on the inside of this thing. There's like sheep's brains or sheep's kidneys. There's oysters. Like that's an oyster.
Yeah, I'm with Ripley. Get rid of the thing. I don't care if it's dead.
Yep. See, exactly what I was saying. I don't trust anybody. Now, the one thing I wonder about, what did they do with the sets for the interiors of the Nostromo? Because man, those would be so useful in like every other science fiction film.
And that's probably what happened. They probably got recycled.
It's so generic-y, interior, And I know there's real eagle-eyed viewers that go, oh, see this thing in this movie? You see it show up again in this movie, and this movie, and this movie, right there.
Or the props, it's like, hey, you see that thingamajig there? Well, that was actually a salt shaker, or in the original Doctor Who, when I was watching it as a kid, it's like, that's a tire pressure gauge. It's like I picked that up right away.
Well, and like when you're watching one of the old black and white Doctor Who episodes, and you see a character wearing a flight suit, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the exact outfit that Bosk wore in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
And then you look on IMDb, sure enough, it absolutely is a reuse of the same outfit. Although what really takes you out of a film is like in the prequels, Anakin in his bedroom or whatever, he's got one of those trackball, whatever it is, the thing that you throw the ball with, hanging from his wall. And it's like, okay, that's too real world,
You mean like a lacrosse thing?
No, you remember that game Trackball? It was like a cup, you held the handle, and it was like a big cup, and you threw a wiffle ball, and it would put a spin on the wiffle ball so it would curve.
Not
okay.
Not offhand. I probably would if I saw it. I'm just not ringing a bell right now.
Oh, apparently it's still a toy that's available. Let me no, I don't want to do that. Let me drop a link in the Who's It, and you can check it out. And you'll see it, and you'll go, oh, I remember that. Oh, wait a minute. That's too long of a what do you call it? Hold on.
Oh, do they have kind of like a basket look to it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Almost like Highlight. If anybody knows what Highlight is.
Kind of like lacrosse. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But like just all single-handed, right?
Yeah, exactly. There we go. Yeah, if anyone's interested, just to see what I was talking about. Yeah, you can see one of those trackball things, I don't know what you'd call it, hanging on the wall in the episode 1 of Star Wars. Mom said that they made the actual ship interiors as one whole thing you can actually maneuver around in realistically. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
If you're able to film, so much the better. Now, I'm going to share the trivia that I'm sure that every single person here right now knows. We're about to come up on the famous chest bursting scene. And when the scene was originally done, They didn't tell the actors what was going to happen, so the effect and their reactions are.
Yeah. Well, they knew what was going to happen. They didn't know the extent it was going to happen.
Yeah. Well, sure, they knew what they read in the script.
Yeah, they knew what the script said, but they did what actually happens. It was just kind of really disturbing.
Now, I just want to say, as someone who has studied first aid for so many years, this whole get a spoon in his mouth thing, don't ever, ever, ever do that to somebody who's having a seizure, okay? It's a good way to break their teeth and get your finger bit off.
And by the way, you cannot swallow your tongue. It's physically impossible. So every time it's like, you got to put something in there, it's going to swallow his tongue. It's physically impossible. You cannot swallow your tongue.
And if anybody's wondering, that's real blood.
Is it?
It was animal blood they got at a butcher's. That's what I read anyway. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my girl.
Now, here's the irony. Now, there's no way they could have known this, but don't touch it. Don't touch it. If you think about the anatomy of the creature, what we know about it from later on in the movie and later in the film, they totally could have. They could have caught it right then and there, isolated the thing, and they'd have been fine. They just had no way to know that.
Yeah, well, it was still grown, but let's say frozen or something. But yeah, for what I understand, like the blood going everywhere, kind of Yaphet Kotto kind of was in shock for the rest of the day. Had to go home and just like take a shower like over and over again.
Yep, and as Wolf 10 Media was pointing out, I think it was
Veronica Cartwright had an issue with it too. Out. Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty crappy, but it certainly does get you a great performance. Evelyn, hold on to your butts. Casey Scott, good. I'm glad you learned something tonight. That's always the goal as we throw out all this useless trivia about these films.
That would be kind of neat, though, to be kind of shot out into space. Maybe not just wrapped up, but like,
yeah,
like in like Spock would have been, or like in Starship Troopers where they had the.
Agent Boomer said, "I heard that people when they saw this scene in theaters back then, actually fainted."
Yeah.
Who knows? Because I get the distinct impression that it's very common in marketing to get that rumor out there, whether it's true or not, because it generates interest. Ooh, people fainted. It's really that intense. I got to go see this movie,
Never believe the hype.
And like I said, we're and not too much longer, we're going to see the alien. The guy they had to play the alien, it was the only thing he's ever done too, by the way. And he actually said, "I'm pretty good with that." Yeah, I was the alien. That's awesome. But the other person they almost got to play the alien, Peter Mayhew.
I could see that.
Yeah, but the other guy was like spindlier.
Yeah. Yeah, they really needed someone who looked in the costume to look alien. It had to not look like a person in a costume. Yeah, I've seen some of the scenes that they shot and didn't use, and it's really all for the best.
Yeah. Like I say, yes, you compare it to Jaws. Like I said, the less you see of the alien, the more terrifying it is.
Actually, Agent Boomer, only part of his remains were shot into space.
Like some of his ashes.
He was cremated, and a portion of his ashes were taken up into space and jettisoned. Yes.
So was Doohan.
Yes, Doohan as well.
Yeah, they went up there, but they didn't stay up there. They came back.
I didn't know one way or the other.
Yeah.
But that's always nice to be able to say, yeah, at least they made it into space, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because another thing too, I don't know anything about Jim Doohan's like religious beliefs. I know that Roddenberry was a humanist and an atheist, but I don't know about Jim Doohan. Mm-hmm. And people have, strong beliefs regarding the disposition of their remains and whatnot.
Yeah. Like I know Shatner's Jewish, I believe. Yep.
And so depending on how devout he is, the idea of being cremated wouldn't go over well. The idea of a separation of the body
mm-hmm.
not being a good idea.
Yeah, I know. Well, being a Catholic, you can be cremated, but your remains need to be kept together.
Okay,
you're not supposed to be spread out.
I didn't. My mother had always said that as a Catholic, you're not allowed to be cremated. I'm like, well, I'm not a Catholic anymore, so I can do whatever I want.
Yeah, they decided that you could. In fact, my she's always said she wants to be cremated and have her ashes buried on top of my father's grave.
My great uncle wanted to be cremated so he could be buried with his common law wife. And the only reason we did it was because, it was his wish, and our family is big on, last wishes and being unified on that. But my grandmother didn't care much for that idea, but she went along with it. But the whole rationalization is the Bible says ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna happen anyway.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
So Torin could go in there talking. It's like kind of reminds me of the Kennedy clan, or being a wrestling fan, the Hart family. Being a ton of them, and many of them died prematurely or faced incredible tragedy. You talk about the Hart family. What about the Von Erich family? If you're a wrestling fan and you know the Von Erichs, that's tragedy. Oh, Jonesy.
Right. And we did a rewatch of The Thing, and now as I'm watching this, I'm starting to think through it and thinking, there's some parallels there too.
Yeah.
Not knowing who might have been, infected by this thing and so forth. You're kidding. Because for all you know, the cat now has a little alien inside of it, right?
That was always a theory, but I don't think it ever came to pass, did it?
Wolf 10 Media, there's a YouTuber that Nanette and I follow. I'm going to have to look her up. She's a mortician in California, and she talks about the disposition of bodies and stuff like that. And I think she specifically talked about the whole idea of the funeral pyre. It's really, really difficult to get permits to have like a Viking funeral. Let me see if I can find her.
Things are about to happen in a bad, bad way. That thing grew fast too.
Wolf 10 Media, I'm gonna get this up for you real quick because I know you got about 5 minutes before Ishii's stream.
Oh yeah, Casey Scott knows of Von Erichs. Being a Texan, darn right, man. Down there in Texas, they were like, royalty.
Okay, Wolf 10 Media here. I'm dropping a link for you. This is a YouTuber named Ask a Mortician. check out some of her videos. I think you'll find them really interesting. I don't know for sure. I seem to remember her talking about the Viking funeral, but it wasn't like the main thing in the video. So I would not be able to know how to find the video that I saw that mentioned it. Okay, so Muhammad really wants me to read this comment. Did you know that Sigourney Weaver wanted in the third film to have a sex scene with the alien? I'll take you at your word on that. I'm sure there's more to that story, and I'm guessing it was probably more of a joke than anything else, because I find it really hard to buy that she really meant that literally.
Well, she kind of had the maternal thing going on there too.
Right.
Because when they found her, it knew that she was hosting.
And you could almost argue that she kind of, in a way, sort of did, because she was impregnated or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, there's the weirdness of the whole cloning thing. So, you know, there's that whole mother-daughter,
Now,
the weird Frankenstein type of way.
I see this, and I remember reading about this. Some of the people were like going, "Why do you have water coming down and chains and stuff? It makes no sense." The director says, "Because it looks cool."
True.
He just liked the way it looked, so he kept it.
True. And all it takes is the water's dripping because there was a leak in a water pipe.
Yeah.
Done. You know?
And I'm looking at going, the alien above his head peeing on him.
Good thing that wasn't acid.
Right? Here we go. One of these days, we're going to have to talk with the professor about that whole trope of chains. Okay, so you have the hanging chains here.
Mm-hmm. The jingle.
Ambiance. The chains of the ghost, right? In A Christmas Carol. The chains in Hellraiser, right? There's got to be some symbology there. Now, here we go.
I mean,
seeing the full-grown alien.
Terrifying.
Now,
nothing like that I had ever seen on screen before.
Can we first point out how quickly the thing grew up? Oh my gosh! Right?
Yeah. I was reading about some of the things that made how that the alien was made. It had they used condoms for the ligaments on the jaws, and all the goop is KY jelly.
Yeah, KY jelly has always been a staple.
Yeah, it's like a staple.
I can't remember what movie it was, and I know I said it during the rewatch that they said that they literally bought KY jelly in drums. Did you know you could buy KY jelly in drums? I think it might have been Hellraiser. Yeah. Now
but for movies, I mean, for a movie set, it makes perfect sense,
right?
To be able to supply that much at a time.
I can just say, as an actor, if you've got to be covered in slime, I'd rather be covered in something that's water soluble than petroleum jelly. That's all I'm going to say.
And all this crap could have been avoided if they just listened to the female on board. That's all I'm saying. Because we're usually the most logical.
Well, if they listened to her there, Sigourney Weaver's Ripley would be dead. Or would she?
No, if they listened to her, those people that were outside the spaceship would have brought in
Oh, I
the
know,
guy
I
with the face
know,
hugger. They would have left him out.
I know. I would say if they listened to her then, she'd be the one crawling around the vents instead of Dallas. Does not compute.
Darn right, it doesn't compute.
Of course, this is the only Alien film with Sigourney Weaver where she doesn't have top billing. He does.
So, one other little piece of trivia I wanted to bring up: Veronica Cartwright, very beautiful woman here. Did not know this until just now as I was checking out IMDb. She played the little girl in the Twilight Zone episode, I Sing the Body Electric, which was what the Electric Grandmother was based on.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my gosh.
And she's also the last uninfected person in Invasion of the Body Snatchers remake.
Right. That's right.
Which is another pretty darn terrifying film when you really get around to it. Oh yeah, well to me, so I saw Aliens before I saw Alien, and this scared me as a child of 6. I would think so. Wolf 10 Media is leaving us. Have a good evening, sir. Open the iris. That's what that always reminds me of now. You see what I mean?
Yep.
I would not be crawling around in that thing.
Okay. Now, you're on a spaceship and you're
firing blind
a torch like that. I mean, it's like just no.
KY.
Yeah. And then he looks at his hand, and the first thought is the character would actually be having. Oh, thank goodness this isn't acid.
Yeah. It's very reminiscent of the scene in Aliens where a whole bunch of them are coming.
Right? Yeah. I'm sure that was thought when they did that scene. Move your ass. Clever girl.
Mm.
Yeah, he's dead.
Yeah. They always talk. I was reading something about when they were talking about the other aliens and the other films that they were always purpose driven, to either feed or to make other little aliens. But the one in the first one seems a little more sadistic. That it actually like toying with someone before they kill them.
Well, and you also have
like,
it's
like
its own creature.
yeah,
Against all of them. It has to. If it's intelligent, it's thinking through survival. Evelyn makes an incredible point here. Audiences freaked because they expected heroic Dallas would save the day.
yeah.
This is a great example of the whole subversion of expectation that people like to throw around these days. This was a great example because nobody knew going into this movie that Ripley was the hero.
Yeah, and Tom Skerritt was the top build.
Yep.
He's the captain.
Yep.
And it's halfway through the film he's dead.
Yep.
Well, a little more than halfway, but
and again, going back to the whole idea that they didn't even think through the gender of the character for that. It was just a group of people, and they're all gonna die except one. Didn't matter whether it was male or female, black or white.
Well, it's like there was a movie, and I can't remember what it is. I just remember there's one scene where the top billed star, which they paid millions and millions of dollars to appear in it, was climbing up a ladder from one airplane to another airplane and got blown off the ladder. It's like, there goes the top billing star.
It was executive decision.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah. Right. No.
Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that was a top billing guy. Okay, bye.
And that's actually brilliant. The idea of killing off a big star like that, that's a surprise you're not expecting. Now, I really like to look at, I think actors convey so much sometimes with not a word, just the look on their face. You think through what they're emoting. And, I look at the look that they just left Veronica Cartwright with. And she's upset because a friend just died. She's also upset thinking, holy crap, I could be next.
Yeah. That's a lot of little lights around.
And they presumably mean something. Order 937.
Crew expendable. Yeah. Oops.
Again, going back to this is a corporate ship. And personally, I think another parallel to 2001, this whole idea of computer being programmed to, fulfill its mission with the crew being expendable.
Mm-hmm.
See, that's probably the biggest fallacy with the whole Asimov concept of the three laws of robotics.
Yeah. If you
It's
program it to kill you, it will kill you.
exactly. Robots have no compunction one way or the other. It's whatever they're programmed. And the whole idea that you could accidentally program it to do something you don't expect it to. Yep.
Ugh.
That's when you realize, man, I'm not even dealing with a real human being.
No.
Muhammad said when they were making the prosthetic head for Ash, the milk that they used for the, blood, shrank the head right before filming, leaving a stupid grin, which is why they didn't use it that much.
Yeah, but it was water based something.
And there's our rating there.
Because milk under the lights was spoiling.
Always a great little detail in these older films. The wall hangings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you could tell that was a guy's bunk. Booby pics.
Well, actually, not necessarily. I mean, we don't know what the preferences of the women are.
Okay, why is he trying to shove a magazine down her throat?
He's trying to kill her.
There are easier ways to do that.
The other thing I was going to say is in the later scene, when the milk is all over the place, the milk went rancid and just stunk to high heaven.
Yeah. And that is spaghetti.
Yep. Makes sense. So Mohammed said that he loves the fact that they made a robot to look human. There is a fan theory that is pretty well supported that Alien takes place in the same universe, so to speak, as Blade Runner, and that the technology for replicants and the technology for this android are one and the same. Something I also get a kick out of is those little bulbs. I don't know exactly what they're meant to be, but it's an interesting little detail.
Man, I think that's just what they're just little glass balls or something. That will go up.
Detail though. You're right, Crispy. I've never noticed that in all of these years of having watched the film. There's a scene earlier on where he's drinking a glass of milk.
Mm-hmm. I bet he was glad to take a shower after that scene. Now, you say they've had prequels to this. Do they ever establish that they knew about these things before?
Yeah, sort of. The head of Wayland Yutani was trying to live forever, and
Mhm.
I don't really remember the details. I've seen Prometheus and I've seen the prequel Alien film, and I don't really remember the details, to be honest with you. But yes, there is a reason that they know in advance some of this information. They do what they ought to do in a prequel and fill in some of those details that are left open a priori in this movie.
Mm-hmm. That little grin.
Yeah, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, just a spite.
Well, it's like you never take chances, right? You
Mhm.
never take chances. It's like Nanette is always saying when we watch a movie, they stop the bad guy or whatever, and then they drop their gun. Why do you drop the gun? You might still need that, okay? Until you are absolutely safe, you do not drop the gun.
Oh yeah. You keep the gun, you keep a knife, you keep whatever you got.
That's what survival's all about, you dummies.
It's like if you watch a good Robin Hood film, even when you're out of arrows, that's still a nice hunk of wood you got in your hand.
That's right. You can still beat someone over the head with it. The fact is, and you don't see this enough, in real medieval combat, you would take an arrow from that was shot at you and
And send it right
put
back.
it in your bow and shoot it back.
Now I do like the design of the shuttle. I will say that. I like how she takes the time to put up her hair.
Well, that's practical. You need to.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, it's so funny.
Oh, I can totally sympathize with that because it's like or empathize rather, because there are times I'm doing something, it's like I have to grab a ponytail holder and get my hair on my way because otherwise it's just irritating as all hell.
And if what she's doing is messy, she'll be like, "Would you come please put up my hair?"
Yeah, like there's sometimes when I'm baking and I hadn't put my hair up yet, and it's just like, can you pull my hair back? It's annoying me because I can't touch myself or touch my hair because I'm I'm elbow deep in dough or something. It's like I'm not touching my hair.
Mohammed, we're at 1 hour, 29 minutes, 40 seconds.
Yeah.
Coming up on 1:30.
Yeah, I'm at 1:29:53.
Okay, it looks like I'm 3 seconds ahead of Al.
She just opened a door and took out a little box for the
Okay,
cat.
no, I guess we're synced. It's just our
copies are different. Yeah.
okay.
I don't remember anybody mentioning this. H. Boomer said, I watched an old science fiction horror film from the 50s called The Chair from Beyond Space. It reminded him of Alien.
I mean, I'm sure that this is not a unique story concept.
Oh no.
But it's the way it's specifically done is a little bit unique.
Yeah. Like I said, I mean, yeah, the actual concept is very simple, straightforward. The execution is what really, sets it apart. So Casey Scott is like, I prefer not knowing about the xenomorphs' origins. I do too. I like the fact that it's just something they came across on this damn planet, and now it's like now they got trouble.
And that is the problem, right? There's so many things in so many franchises where part of the appeal is the mystery and not knowing. That's why, so many people are upset about what's going on with Doctor Who right now. Doctor Who is meant to be a mystery. You fill in that mystery, you kind of ruin it,
So did either of you get the impression that the ship's computer mother is trying to protect the alien as the film progresses? Probably a little bit. It's probably got that same programming. I don't think it's going to go out of its way to like do anything, but I just think I think it's more of a secret keeper than it is an actual trying to go out of its way to,
Well, it probably is like a HAL 3000 or something like that.
Yeah. Or HAL 9000.
9,000, okay.
Yeah, HAL 9 was 2001.
Open the pod bay doors, Al. Hal? Hal?
I'm the Al 9003. Oops. I like how she sees it.
Yep.
And she's like almost shocked. So I love how a lot of it you just hear.
Yep. Again, it's a great way to Alfred Hitchcock it,
Yeah. Now, there's one little small scene about to happen with whoop.
Ooh, that's cold.
See, here's where it seems a little sadistic.
Yeah.
It takes its time to kill him.
And again, you're also still questioning what the intelligence level is. Is it sadistic because it's like you guys have been trying to kill me all along,
Now, those legs right there where it's going up, that's Harry Dean Stanton.
Oh, really?
Yep. That's not her. That was a scene shot during Harry Dean Stanton's death scene, and they just transposed it.
Brilliant use of editing.
Yep. And that lends very much to the haunted house aspect, just hearing the screams and the terrifying outbursts, and you can't see it,
and then it goes quiet.
Yeah, and it's even more. It's actually more terrifying than if you were actually watching it.
So Muhammad makes a good point. What happens if this thing kills everybody? What's it going to do? Maybe it's not that intelligent. Maybe it's just animal instinct.
Yeah, it's just going on instinct. Yeah.
It doesn't know it's in space, so to speak, or what that even means. It just.
It could go into hibernation. It could convert into another form. Who knows?
Well, that's the other thing, too. As we find out from the second movie, we know that it's not a queen.
Mm-hmm.
So would it start a new hive or try to start a new hive? Or is it just a drone that lives its life out and dies and is not going to be able to perpetuate its species on its own.
They always make blowing a ship up so bloody hard.
Well, it's not meant to be easy.
I
You
know.
don't want it to be an accident,
So I like the Star Trek version better. A1, B2,
Yeah,
C30.
right. I love the fact that when they did it next gen, they used almost exactly the same,
Yeah.
code, like it was a reference back. Now, I noticed that the professor went quiet. I'm assuming that he's probably not watching this movie.
No,
But
he had a paper to write.
But I know I noticed that he doesn't have anything to say about us talking about Star Trek.
No.
This actually kind of does look like in Star Trek 2, the Genesis device.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Almost the same sound effect. Because if you remember, this came out the same year as the first motion picture. Star Trek the motion picture, 79.
Muhammad says, dude, it's totally going to rewatch The Graduate and Breakfast at Tiffany's all day, every day, referring to the alien doing that because he mentioned it. What's it going to do? Watch their videos or something? Speaking of which, I would totally be behind doing a rewatch of The Graduate and Breakfast at Tiffany's, to be honest with you.
I looked for Breakfast at Tiffany's. I couldn't find it on the high
Professor
seas.
Geek had to chime in as Winona Ryder showed up yet. No, she was in that abysmal third movie. Go watch Stranger Things, Professor.
Or Beetlejuice.
Jump in the line. Okay, buddy, in time. Okay, I believe you.
Like I said, you got the spinning lights, the fog, the music, everything.
Perfect ambiance. Yeah. Very well thought out. Muhammad, the only reason he got owned is because it's our show. We're the ones with the speakers. I also like that, the way she covers her mouth as she's going through the it's like, well thought out.
I was reading what Agent Boomer wrote. Professor Geek, in space, no one can hear you rant about the Clone Wars.
One rewatch I'd really love to do, and I don't know if anyone would at all be interested. There's a British sci-fi series called Blake 7, and I would like to do a rewatch of a single episode called Con. I think it would be a lot of fun, but I don't know if everyone would be into that.
Especially Mr. Time.
Yeah. Although I would love if the computer were to say, I'm busy. Ask your dad.
Yeah. Professor Geek says you guys are all assholes and I'm leaving now.
We are, aren't we? I'm actually surprised you made it as long as you did, Professor. I know these movies scare you, and if you don't have someone there to like protect you from the boogeyman, you might not make it.
Troy, leave the professor alone.
I know.
Yeah, stop poking the bear.
I think you were getting nervous earlier on in our debate in chat.
You noticed I did not get into that, right?
Yeah.
I was sitting there going, damn.
Actually, it was because I didn't get to work my frustrations out in the so-called Doctor Who debate. It was like me and DJ were like chomping at the bit, and it was like pretty lukewarm.
Except what was the guy? One guy, DJ Odyssey. He was pretty. He was like pretty like done with
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Well, I went over to his stream later on, his little birthday stream, and I didn't realize during our stream, but he kind of let out. He's like, "Yeah, I was a little disappointed. I had all these notes and plans, and I was going to bust them up." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not really what it was meant to be."
Yeah.
But I hope that the professor knows that we love him. I mean, if we haven't gotten that across to him, if we haven't earned a little joking around, then
I'm also presuming he meant you and Al are assholes, not me, because I wasn't speaking.
yes, he absolutely meant specifically me.
Oh, he wouldn't dare call you anything bad.
Right?
You are sugar, spice, and everything nice.
I was going to make a joke, but actually that's too true. Well, professors, it's
the cat's
not even joking.
That cat's getting a rough ride.
Hey, if the cat's lucky, he's going to survive this thing, for crying out loud. Yeah. Professor, I'm not even joking when I say it's my Klingon nature. I was on the debate team in high school, and I love to debate. But I like to also think that I'm an open-minded debater. I can have my opinion changed with a good argument.
Does that make you a masturbator?
Hey, that was you. I really was.
I knew where he was going with it, and he purposely set it up that way.
I'm trying to keep this stream relatively PG-13, so I'm not even going to comment on that.
I don't care. The whole COPPA thing, I don't give a darn. I like how long it takes for her to clear the ship.
Because at this point, I never know if someone like Sound Engraver or even meteorologist Katie might be listening in. So I want to keep it, at least relatively friendly. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, Professor, I kind of picture Al as the comparison I make is who's that guy from Big Bang Theory?
Sheldon.
Yeah, he's like Sheldon. He so hates conflict, he gets real nervous.
Oh, here comes a secondary blast. I bet I saw that ore. Because they were loaded with ore of some kind.
Professor Geek, I am going to agree with you that we would be lost without you if for no other reason than you are an important friend to us, and we would be lost without our friendship.
That was a very psychedelic explosion.
It's very much a product of its time. What was it, 79?
79, yeah. Do you remember, what was that movie, Altered States?
I love that movie, but that was
wild. Isn't that a wild, weird brain screwing of a film, though?
I remember that movie is what got me interested into digging into Jungian archetypes and the whole concept of the collective unconscious and so forth.
And of course, everybody in the audience is like, she's won. She has beat the alien. She's escaped. The cat is all right. He loves you too, but he's mildly fond of me. I am the wind beneath your wings, Professor, and you know it. That's a mean little cat. He's always hissing.
Well, you got to admit he's got reason to be a little bit nervitchy.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, I will admit. He gets his own little pod.
And he's going to become a catsicle. In 3, 2, 1.
Comes a very iconic scene.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
And 13-year-old Troy fell in love with Sigourney Weaver.
Ba-boom.
I think this is also what turned me into a leg man.
I was like, those are some like really slinky little panties she has on too.
And can I also point out that I love the fact that in the 70s, they believed that there was no such thing as a bra in space.
I don't understand why she has to be frozen in panties and a tank top.
She's getting ready for bed. She's getting comfortable.
Butt crack.
Yeah.
And I love how it blends in just until there.
And isn't that wild? Because the makeup of its body looks so much like the circuitry and the conduits and whatnot.
Yeah.
But it's also a testament to the survival instinct of this creature, you know? The fact that it's even there.
I wonder if anybody's ever used the term, like, you know, everybody talks about the alien came forth from Cain. It's like it's the son of Cain.
Interesting. So Chris P, yeah, that's basically what I was getting at. There's definitely some intelligence there, but it also speaks to instinct as well. It's hard to say where that line is. Although one could argue, you know, even if it has human level intelligence, we still operate on survival instinct. So
Mm-hmm.
we also know that it's cold on that ship.
And it's at this point we are kind of glad the final survivor was a woman. and you're seeing Yaphet Kotto's half naked butt doing this.
This is something else I really always admired about this character. You have got to assume that this character is petrified, but is still keeping her wits about her, thinking it through. What's the next? What do I need to do to survive? I'm going to get into this suit.
She took a few moments. She was scared, and then she calmed herself down.
Because
okay,
that's always the way. You're in a crisis situation. You got to say to yourself, okay, I don't have the luxury of crying, getting panicky, whatever it is. All of that can wait. Right now, I need to do this.
I did say she was a smart one.
Makes you wonder why it has shoulder pads.
Just armor.
That was a style at the time.
Yeah. But see, yeah, everybody's asking what would it have done if it killed everybody? It would just like find a place to lay and hibernate. Oh, and she's singing a song here. They had to pay for the rights for the song.
Yeah, I suppose they would have to, right?
Yeah, just her barely singing it.
Gershwin, you are my lucky star. I saw you from afar. It's from Singing in the Rain. I was completely off. I guess it was Arthur Freed and Nacio Brown.
Mm.
I had no idea. And the reason they had to pay for rights for it was because that was MGM, and this is a 20th Century Fox film. Oof.
That's the wire.
That's clever too.
Mm-hmm. Take that, you bitch.
Agent Boomer asked me if I own any Alien action figures. No, but I have looked at the reaction action figures and seriously thought about it. I just couldn't justify getting into collecting another area of action figures, especially now being out of work. Muhammad brings up Haunting of Hill House. We just saw the DVDs of that at Target. And I remember you mentioning that show, Al. I kind of am curious about it.
Oh, the series, the Netflix series, Haunting of Hill House.
I'd probably really like it.
Oh, and they said her doing this monologue before filming was really what put her over the top to get the part.
Oh, this monologue was part of the.
Okay. Yeah, it was part of the audition, and they had to read it, and they just really liked how she sounded.
I can see that.
And now she sleeps for what, like 53 years, I believe it was, before they found her.
Yeah.
Well, she said she'd get to the frontier in 6 weeks, so.
Yeah, but they didn't find her for a long time.
Yep.
I think it was like 53 years or something, or 70. So it was a long.
We are going to eventually have to do a rewatch
of Aliens. Yeah.
Aliens. Yeah, exactly.
Alien design, H.R. Giger.
It is Giger. I promise you.
Carlo Rambaldi, alien head effects.
I think it's kind of rare that you and I are so well synced on our films. Usually we're off by about 2 to 3 seconds. Yep. Chris P. and Evelyn Hampton confirmed it was 57 years.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask, is there anyone in the stream that had not seen this film before, that this was a first time through? Because I know that we always kind of assume, especially with these older films, that it's a rewatch, but that's not always the case. I know there have even been times where I hadn't seen a film and I'm watching it for the first time with y'all.
Well, there's a film I've been thinking about wanting to do. Ooh, look, costume design, John Mollo. That's a familiar name because he did the designs for Star Wars. About like doing a more recent film,
Uh-huh.
because I would love to do Rampage with The Rock.
I really enjoyed that movie,
Yeah.
especially as someone who played the game way too much in college. Mr. Matchstick said it was his first time seeing this movie.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Did you enjoy it, Mr. Matchstick?
What'd you think? I know it's like a little. Okay, there's the alien was played by Bolaji Badejo.
Yep.
His only film.
Casey Scott has this on Blu-ray. Are there any really cool like extras or anything on the Blu-ray?
Filmed in Panavision.
Color by Eastman Kodak.
Copyright 1979.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Mr. Matchstick said he's a big Halo fan, and they took a lot from these movies.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised.
Everyone saw this at the Milford Theater in Chicago. I know exactly the theater you're talking about.
Is that like an iconic theater?
It's an older theater, yeah.
Because we had the one in DC. I think it's the Center. Now I'm not. God, now I'm like doubting what I'm thinking. But I think it's like the Senator Theater or something like that. But it was like it was the theater that Star Wars was at for over a year. It's the only film that played there for over a year, and they just recently closed. It was like one of those grand old kind of theaters. They just don't make them anymore. You know, they make all these smaller, pack them in there, get anywhere from 8 to 25 screens or whatever.
Muhammad said he saw this at the age of 9. Oh my gosh, seriously? That would like scar me. I remember being freaked out from seeing Poltergeist.
Mm-hmm.
And that was considered PG at the time.
Oh, I remember Poltergeist freaking me out too.
Yeah. I flipped out when the guy started peeling his face off. I just screamed and I ran. I tried to run out of the theater. My mother stopped me and she's like, okay, fine. You don't have to watch it, but we're standing at the back of the theater and I want to see the rest of this movie. So,
well, because of course I always remember the clown scene.
That freaked me out too. Yeah, I covered my eyes for that one.
Yeah, still my favorite. Like there was this large lady sitting behind me, and she was like, "Oh Lord Jesus!" And she like screamed out.
Okay, so I'm gonna confess about how I came to horror films. I had a really hard time with horror films, and I used to kind of watch them through interlaced fingers like this, and it wasn't until my Uncle Richard and Aunt Debbie took me to see Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D.
Mm.
And I was a little bit wigged out. And my Aunt Debbie was messing around with me. She'd say, okay, you can look now. And it would be just the perfectly wrong time.
Oh, yeah.
Just, And my uncle, who's like Mr. Patriarch of the family, just very clearly said, stop. You leave it alone. And it wasn't until later on that I found out from my grandmother that when my uncle was a kid, he had gone to see Psycho, and he had gone with his little league team, and he had to go and get all the popcorn, and he was coming back with an armful of popcorn right at the shower scene. Wow. And he went, ah! And he threw the popcorn and it just went flying everywhere. And so he totally empathized with my whole, struggle with the horror film. So the fact that Friday the 13th was in 3D meant I could watch it without the 3D glasses, and it was completely blurry, and I can get the gist of the story without being too freaked out. It was kind of like, the whole interlaced fingers thing. And honestly, ever since Friday the 13th, I'm not sure exactly what it was about that experience. I not only have been able to watch horror films, but got to enjoy them.
Yeah,
You know, but that was after having seen Poltergeist, and Poltergeist freaked the crap out of me.
Now,
Yeah.
see, for me, I don't like slasher films. I just never got into those. But the ones like Poltergeist, I think those ones are cool. Amityville Horror, I love those. But
Oh,
yeah,
I
like
love Amityville Horror.
Chainsaw Massacre, nope, couldn't get into it. Anything that it's a slasher film, nope, don't like them.
I like things that have a paranormal theme to them, where you're dealing with ghosts or witches or
Yeah, exactly.
a spirit or something like that. I like something Felix sort of asked me. So I think COVID will bring back drive-in theaters. I hope so. I love the old drive-in theaters. Not that I would ever probably be able to get them. Well, I couldn't in my current state, but perhaps one day I'll be able to get to a chance to get to something like that. But God, that's just it's the perfect way during a pandemic to go to the movies and not have to worry about it. You just you're totally social distance and blocked in your car.
So, Dark Stranger said he saw it when he was 6, among other horror films like JP, Thing, etc.
Well,
yeah, I don't know what's happening with my sound. I'm sorry. Also saw lots of mature aspects as well: boobs, gore, sex, etc. It's interesting you say that because pre PG-13, there was actually a lot more brief nudity, as they call it, in PG films. Nowadays, you don't even get that in PG-13. That makes it automatic R. But back in the 70s and 80s, you might see
you might see a little something.
Yeah, which was kind of awesome.
I know. I remember being like 12, 13, 14, 15, and you go to a film and you see that little flash of boob, and you're like, ooh, it's all exciting.
Now, Sartoric Clegane, I'm a little gobsmacked about your story about Beauty and the Beast. Really? What was it about Beauty and the Beast that set you off? That seems like one of the most benign things I could imagine.
Well, he was 5. He was 5 years old, so I could see that.
Yeah, I suppose there is that one scene where and Robbie Benson. Let's give it up for him. And
he did a great.
I mean, Robbie Benson, right? You're old enough to remember Robbie Benson.
I remember Robbie Benson, little pretty boy who.
Right?
Yep.
And he was the Beast. When I heard that, I was like, "You're kidding me! Seriously?"
Yeah. Well, the Beast could be kind of scary, so I can understand a 5-year-old being scared about that.
Yeah. Now in retrospect, there's that. Yeah, I can kind of.
Just reading a little about Alien. It came out exactly 2 years to the day that after Star Wars came out, May 25th, 1979. I just think that's kind of cool. So, but yes, that is our rewatch of Alien. Man, 41 years ago that film.
Muhammad makes an excellent point. Ghosts freak me out because I go by the rule: if it bleeds, you can kill it. Ghosts are already dead, and they certainly don't bleed. That is an excellent point. But depending on the story, can they even harm you?
Mm-hmm.
If they're substantial, can they harm you?
Yeah. Like I said, a good horror film is, and I know. Well, like I said, the professor's trying to say, he's not a slasher type.
Which is why we have the fan man in our lives. Okay?
Yeah.
So
speaking of fan man, I do believe that next Friday, we're having a Halloween. It's a time to have a little halfway to Halloween celebration.
Or is it you just Is he
May
just?
the 1st. May the 1st is what we're gonna.
But did he say what the movie was?
I don't think he said what the movie was yet. I'm going to try to press him on it. He's away with the family this weekend. Not sure when he's coming back, but we'll press him hard this week and try to get it out as soon as possible because I like it. If it's one of the ones that he was thinking of, I really hope it is. I'm not sure yet, but like I said, I don't want to say anything because who knows?
I figure if you press him hard starting Monday, we might have an answer by 7:30 on Friday.
Yeah, might know, but okay. So upcoming, we've got tomorrow on the Catholic Bible Geek channel. The professor, and it's going to be the professor, you, me, and Sound Engraver talking a little bit about our faith and beliefs. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna need way more booze for that.
Oh, jeez. Then on Tuesday we'll have office hours, which I'm sure will be exciting.
There's a lot of news, so yeah. Office hours on Tuesday for sure.
And then Thursday will be the first 5 chapters of The Last Command, the 3rd book of the Thrawn trilogy. I got the title right, didn't I? Last Command.
No, the final command. Oh wait.
No, it's Last Command. I got it in my hand. Got it in my hand right here. See, I'm gonna start reading that tomorrow, I think. And like I said, Friday, the Fan Man, we're gonna have a little Halloween celebration. You know, get a mask out, dress up, get a little bit in the Halloween mood, and because that is the Fan Man's true love is horror and Halloween. He actually, like I said, he got me loving Halloween again. And I totally attribute that to the Fan Man. And then next Saturday we will be watching.
Nanette, what are we watching next week? It's a time travel movie.
Oh, I forget which one we picked.
Memento, guys, come on! I thought you were all ready with this.
I know, I thought we were too.
Well, we've got a list of like 20 different time travel movies, and I was like mentally going through them really fast. I'm like, wait, I don't remember which one it is.
Oh dear God! I guess because you already did the picture and everything for it. So can you tell us a little?
Right.
Tell us a little about Memento. It's the one with Guy Pearce.
Oh, Memento, you're absolutely right. Oh, Memento. Thank you, Al. I'm glad I see. This is what we got to do. We got to always tell Al because he'll keep track of this stuff for us. Yes.
Yeah, we just need a reminder.
So, again, just like Paycheck, it's not truly a time travel movie, but it plays with timey-wiminess. It's a story about a guy who has lost the ability to form new memories. So, but in order to function, he is trying to track down the murderer who killed his wife. So as he gains new tattoo on himself as he's trying. So
kind of losing
kind
of losing you a little bit. You're kind of roboting.
Oh, I'm sorry. But anyway,
my microphone is off.
No, yeah. The important point is that the main character can't form new memories. So in order for the story to convey that to you, it's a very interesting way that it tells the story. Basically, it tells the story backwards.
Mm-hmm.
So it really plays with time. And if you haven't seen it before, I think you're going to really, really enjoy it.
I've never seen it.
Have you not? Oh,
I've never seen it. It's one of those that people told me about, but I've just never had a chance to sit down and watch it. And I'm just getting some information here so people know what to look for. Is Memento from 2000, directed by Christopher Nolan. So
it is, an early Christopher Nolan film. Yeah. I highly recommend.
Starring Guy Pearce.
It's up to you. If you want to wait and watch it for the first time with us next week, you totally could. If you want to watch it in advance, and rewatch it with us, you can do that too. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, in my personal opinion. I had thought that the professor wanted in on that because it's a very interesting narrative. And you're losing me again.
Yeah, I'm hearing,
Something's wrong with my sound, and I don't know why. I'm
hearing
sorry.
static. I don't know.
I thought that the professor wanted in on this because it's an interesting and very unique sort of narrative take on storytelling because of the timey-wiminess of it. But I guess he's not as into it, and I don't think he really wants to do these rewatches with us. He doesn't enjoy hanging out with us as much.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I did also want to do is I want to drop a link into the chat. I dropped a link to another YouTuber. Well, actually, that's her Twitter link. You should follow her on Twitter. But let me also see if I can find her YouTube channel as well. This is meteorologist Katie. She does a really interesting YouTube called. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where is it? Give me just a second. I'm sorry. She's a meteorologist. She's totally a what do you call it? A storm chaser. And she's a YouTuber. And I asked her if she would be interested in doing a rewatch with us of the movie Twister,
which is one of my favorite films.
I didn't know that at the time, so I thought it might be a little bit of a sell on you, but apparently it's not. I'm having a hard time finding her YouTube channel right now because I forget.
And by the way, meteorologist Katie is my spirit animal.
Yeah, she kind of is. She was one of the people that was involved in our little rewatch. Not rewatch, our little debate yesterday about Doctor Who. And she was just taking a very positive, very sunny take on the whole thing. And Al was like, wow, she sounds like me. I'm like, yeah, kind of. I suppose you're absolutely right on that. So, but if you could vamp for me for just a minute, I'm going to see if I can't find
I've already found her.
Okay, you want to
In the link.
Drop the link in. Thank you.
Yeah, her YouTube channel is So Many Fandoms.
Many fandoms. Thank you.
Yeah, but Twister. I've always Twister is one of those wonderful kind of films I have seen many, many times and can watch anytime it's on. Pick up at any point of the film if I just happen to come across it and watch the rest of it. It's just I just really like it.
Yes, Professor. She was the one that hosted. She's the one who was dressed as the female doctor. She's really just awesome. She's a regular contributor to
let's just say the 13th Doctor. Doesn't need to be male or female.
I actually have forgotten the numbers. After 11, I get a little confused because of the whole double 10. So I kind of get a little lost. This has nothing to do with the gender issue. I have a little number issue, kind of like the professor.
So she was an Al gal. That's what caught his eye. She's cute. I'll tell you, she is cute. But listening to her, it was like listening to myself. It was like, let's not go. They haven't done it yet. She's not as fatalistic.
She was the perfect host for being a moderator on this conversation, and she is incredibly sweet and very bubbly. She is a professional meteorologist. So one of the things, and please, I really am requesting, click on the link that Nanette shared. Like and subscribe to her and check out her videos. She does one where she goes through a bunch of the different planets in Star Trek and does weather reports, like for Kronos and Trill and Beta.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, it's really, really awesome. it's really really cool. It's worth checking out, and she's got other videos for other fandoms.
Yeah.
So many fandoms.
Yeah. So Memento next Saturday.
Yeah.
The following Saturday,
You
I was still thinking about doing First Blood if people were still interested. Like I said, we just lost Brian Dennehy, and he is a great bad guy in that film, and it's a nice, exciting action, good 80s action movie.
And if anyone's interested, I have a video on my channel where I did a review of the most recent Rambo film. Just if you're interested in checking that out.
Yeah, but this is the first one, the original First Blood, from I'm not sure what year, but I'll put all that out after we do Memento, because I'll worry about it. I always like that week off where I don't have to worry about promoting what's on the rewatch. But
Muhammad put in the chat, Professor Geek, can you do a horror marathon rewatch for charity?
For charity, yeah, there you go. Depends on the charity, I'm guessing.
I thought charity was a girl.
Ooh, okay, there you go. But it's got to be all in singles or something.
Troy.
I'm sorry, that was bad. Anyway, yeah, great rewatch tonight, Al. Great suggestion.
Casey Scott's like, do Rambo, need some manly action. Well, we eventually get to like Rambo 2 possibly, but First Blood, you got to start with that original. It was a great movie when it came out. I still think it's the best. Agent Boomer said, I went scorched earth on Doctor Who after Whittaker got announced.
Professor Geek says, I would if I could pick the movie. What movie would you pick for a horror film? The Black Cauldron?
No, the ones we were talking about, where it's not slasher films, but they're more like The Others, where it's something more.
That was a freaky movie.
Freaky, crazy, where it's like you don't really know what's happening, and then it's like, oh wow, that's what's happening.
Al, have you seen The Babadook?
Babadook, yes, love the Babadook.
You did. Wait, did you do a rewatch, or did you do a review of that one?
I might have.
I'd have to scroll back through.
I don't know if I did a review of it or if I just put it in my 31 favorite frights.
Yeah, the Professor Geek says The Exorcist. That one is crazy scary. If you grew up Catholic, that one just curls your toes.
Okay, I didn't grow up Catholic, and that one scared the snot out of me.
Although I felt the same way about the Amityville Horror, and I had Nanette watch that, and I swear to you, we were halfway through the film, and she's like, have we gotten to the scary part yet? I'm like, this scared the crap out of me when I was a kid.
Now, see, what's funny is I actually had seen the film before. I just didn't remember too much of it. So when he's like, oh, this is a scary movie, but it's okay, I was like, okay. And then we're watching. I'm like, oh, wait,
I will say the Amityville Horror doesn't hold up to the heights of horror that it did when it first came out. Because when it first came out, it was like in the news and it was fresh in everybody's mind and that stuff. And I think someone who is fresh to it now, who really doesn't know the backstory or has read the book.
So the professor is saying, let's definitely do that one. The Exorcist, really, Professor? I mean, if you want to, we could. I'm just a little.
I don't know. See, I can never tell if the man's being sarcastic online anymore.
Right.
He has. If anybody who's a South Park fan ever seen an episode called Sarcastaball, where Randy just becomes sarcastic all the time and he can't stop, and I just don't know with him sometimes.
I've never seen a full episode of South Park. The only thing I know about it is they killed Kenny and member berries.
Apparently, Kenny dies in every single episode.
That's what I've
heard. Only like the first half of the series run, they really have stopped the killing Kenny thing. When you find out actually that Kenny's immortal,
Agent Boomer makes
he comes back all the time. That's actually a superpower he has.
Agent Boomer is suggesting Creep Show. That is a good one.
Good one, did it?
Okay, the prof says I'm an aspiring theologian, which I'm probably mispronouncing. The Exorcist is good for that.
We did. Just so you know, we did.
I mean, do you want to do it on the Catholic Bible Geek channel? I'd be good with that.
Yeah, we did. Age of Boomer. Remember, we did Creep Show on the Fan Man channel, I believe, if I remember correctly.
I missed that week. I wasn't able to watch it. Yeah.
Last Halloween, I believe. I'm serious.
God, Creep Show really bugged me. Especially the kudzu one. That, for whatever reason, that really freaked me the heck out.
Oh, Jordy Verrill. Oh, poor Jordy Verrill. Yep. Well, we're heading into God, we're getting on to close to 3 hours. But yeah, I think it's time we start signing off here. Like I said, we've run through what's coming up. Like I said, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, Professor Catholic Bible Geek channel.
Geek channel. All the rest of the stuff is pretty much as usual. Tuesday office hours, Thursday book club, Friday Fan Man, and next Saturday Memento Rewatch on Troy's channel.
And something I just want to throw out there, everyone, I know their states are saying now you got to wear masks every time you go outside. If anyone needs any, I am making them. And just find me on Facebook. It's my name, obviously. My picture is me and Troy for our 25th vow renewal. So we're both in wedding gear. Just drop me an IM. I'm happy to make one for you.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Of course, I'm charging a little bit more just for materials, but it's.
I haven't been outside yet, so I haven't needed one.
Yeah, so I'm charging $5 a mask. But if you guys need them, I'll pay your postage or whatever. If you're in Illinois and you're nearby, you can just stop by and pick it up. But yeah, just find me on Facebook if you need one. I'm happy to make one for you.
Awesome.
Just drop the link to Catholic Bible Geeks channel. I don't know if it's your shtick or not, but if you would be interested in tomorrow's stream for Catholic Bible Geek, check it out. He'll be posting the link when he's ready to.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, thanks, Professor. He dropped the link to my Facebook page, so there you go.
Yep. Like to thank everyone who joined us tonight. Troy, Nanette, thank you very much for reliving the horror of Alien with us and hanging out here.
That's cool.
I want everyone to stay safe, stay healthy, have fun. There's always something to do. To keep yourselves busy during these weird times. Like I said, you can always pop in and say hi to us when we're on. So have a great rest of the evening or early morning, depending on where you are. And thanks for joining us. Take care.
Bye, guys.
Night, everyone.